Hey, it's Dave from Doing Things with Dave. Hope your day is going well. So today, which is the 6th of May in real time, I wanted to do a look back on my excursion I took to Antigua, Guatemala last month while I was cruising from Miami to Los Angeles on the Norwegian Joy through the Panama Canal. So Guatemala was our fourth port stop, my fourth new country on this trip. And what I had booked was a trip to Antigua and a visit to their craft brewery. So I was really excited about this. I am a big fan of beer. While I was on the ship, I did the district brew house brew tasting, which was a fun experience. I'd had all the beers already, but really enjoyed the experience overall. So going to Antigua to a craft brewery was definitely something that I really was looking forward to and was excited about. So when we sailed into the port, it was another beautiful day. The weather was great. There were all sorts of fishing ships, or I should say fishing boats, as the ship came in. And unlike the last couple of ports that were more industrial, this was more of a traditional cruise port. So when we docked, again, went to the Norwegian Joy Theater for the excursion call-off, got my trip called, went out to the bus and was pleasantly impressed with the local port area. Had some shops, had a craft fair, had some things to do. So I knew when I finished my excursion, I'd have some things I could do before getting back on the ship, unlike some of the other ports that we recently had been to. Quickly got on the bus and found out we would probably have about a 2.5 hour ride to Antigua, and I should say up to Antigua, because while we were sea level, leaving, of course, the port area, Antigua sits in a valley in between several of the volcanoes in Guatemala at over 5,000 feet of elevation, which was really cool. So I got on the bus. It was a very comfortable, big, modern bus. The only downside, I'd say, is the audio system wasn't working correctly. So we got a lot of feedback from our guide initially while she was trying to get the microphone set. Once or twice, not a big deal. Probably happened 50 times, though, and I'm not exaggerating. So that was a little frustrating. Finally got it right, and she was very informative and gave us a really nice sort of overview of Guatemala and of the drive. Got to take some really good pictures as we maneuvered our way from the port area through some of the local towns and then on our way up to Antigua. The weather was nice, but a little cloudy, so it was hard to see some of the volcanoes, but we were able to see what certainly looked like venting, some of the steam and smoke coming from some of the volcanoes. They are active, which was, a little disconcerting. I didn't want to have an eruption. Thank goodness we didn't have one, but we made our way up. What was cool is on the bus ride, we did go through an area in 2018 or 2019. There had been a major eruption, and you could see where the lava had gone through, kind of how it had traveled down the mountainside or volcano side. Some of the villages that had been relocated, some obviously had been destroyed. And again, natural disasters are that. They are a disaster, but it was very interesting to see how the country is recovering. And quite frankly, there are some areas that are still under reconstruction, but they have done, I think, a pretty good job in helping to address displaced residents and give them a place to stay and kind of rebuild their lives. The volcanoes, again, were magical. They were shrouded in a bit of haze and fog, but you could still see them, and you definitely felt like you were somewhere else, which was definitely cool. Now, as we got into Antigua, our guide started telling us a little bit more about the city. It was at one point the capital city of Guatemala, about 250 years ago. The capital had been moved to Guatemala City now, but it was essentially it's a UNESCO heritage site. And again, it was our second UNESCO heritage site on this trip because in Cartagena, Colombia, That's also a UNESCO heritage area. But what that means is the buildings can't be demolished and built into different styles. They have to maintain the colonial style. So really a bunch of 1 and 2 story buildings, some very bright and vibrant colors, very narrow streets. Everything was cobblestones. It was a beautiful small city or big town. Turns out it's a very popular destination for things like destination weddings and travel excursions. People from North America come there on a regular basis. It's definitely a place I would love to go back and spend 3, 4, 5 days there. I think there would be that much interesting things to do, but a lot of really cool restaurants, hotels, obviously bars and breweries, but definitely a place where you could, I think, immerse yourself in the culture for a few days. Plus, it's where Guatemalan coffee comes from because of the elevation. And obviously, Guatemalan coffee is some of the most famous in the world. A very small amount is produced. We did pass one of the coffee picking farms on our way back, so that was neat to at least see it. But when we got into Antigua, the plan was to walk around the city a little bit and then go to the brewery and then finally spend a little bit time at the Jade Museum. Jade is a very well-known, I shouldn't say well-known, very popular mineral that's excavated in Guatemala. It's a few other places in Central America, and we did learn a little bit about that, which was somewhat interesting. Didn't have as much time in the Jade Museum as maybe we would have liked, but at the same time got to see it, got to experience a little bit of it. And I'll put up a few pictures of that. In any case, once we started walking around, we walked to a couple of different places, a town square. We passed a Domino's restaurant. Domino's does have a local place. That was kind of just funny, I guess you could say, taking a cue from the local area to make sure that the building fits the look and feel, but yet we have these North American fast food restaurants all over the world. I've seen Domino's in places like India and Dubai and McDonald's and Burger King and all sorts of other places. So I know it's kind of a joke, but it was something that made me laugh. But something that didn't make me laugh was when we got to the brewery. Now, the Antigua Brewing Company is pretty well known in Antigua. It's a multi-story brewery, similar to what you might find on the east or west coast. Really cool space. They make a variety of different types of beers. And the beer tasting we had, which was really nice, we had 4 different beers, each paired with a different local dish. So started with a light lager, had some ceviche, then moved into a bit more of a robust ale. In this case, it was a Hefeweizen, and we had a tostada. We then had a more spicy IPA, and this was paired with a really nice pork dish. And then finally, we had a darker beer, more of a stout, and that was paired with some mole poblano. Each of these bites worked really well with the beer. Now, one thing that was really, really cool for me is the brewmaster came up, the owner, and started asking, what we thought, and did we like everything, and then where we were from. And I told him I'm from New Jersey, and he said, had you ever heard of a brewery called Twin Elephant? And I looked at him and I said, well, yeah, I've been there a bunch of times. It's not far from where I live, and it's a brewery that I really enjoy. And then I gave him some recommendations if he's back in the U.S. anytime to go to some breweries in the Hackettstown area, Jersey Girl, Zigmeister, and it was just one of these things that was just so cool that you're here on the other side of the world and you're talking about breweries that are close to you, and really just was a neat experience. Anyway, obviously I enjoyed the brewery and I enjoyed the views from the brewery. Once we finished though, we had a chance to walk around a little bit more. We saw the famous cathedral and the arch. We got some really opportunities to see the views, although because the weather was getting a little bit cloudier, we couldn't see as well as you might on a really sunny day. But it was still stunning, and really ended up enjoying the excursion overall. And like I said, Antigua is a place that I would go back to if I had the chance. The drive back was pretty uneventful. It was, again, about 2 hours. One note on Antigua and sort of planning a excursion. Generally, if you're going to go to Guatemala, you're probably going to be there all day. Antigua is, they say it's about 90 minutes. It's really between 2 and 2.5 hours. It's a 2-lane road from the port area up to Antigua. And again, some of it's mountainous, so you may have to go slower. I would not recommend booking anything but a ship excursion, just so you have the guarantee of getting back to the ship. Our excursion was probably 8.5 hours overall. And again, completely fine. We made it back to the ship with plenty of time before we had to leave. But if you're on a private excursion, the risk is a little bit higher of getting left behind if you are late. So again, if you're going to go to Antigua, plan on a lot of bus time, and I would recommend booking through the ship just from a safety standpoint. In any case, this obviously has been a quick overview of my experience in Antigua. I would highly, highly recommend Antigua as a place to visit if you're going to Guatemala. If you're going on a cruise ship and they offer the brewery tour, this would be something I would recommend as a really strong suggestion. Some of the other excursions that people did that seemed to have a good time were, there was some eating, kind of like 3 or 4 course meal. There was a few walking tours of the Antigua town, even some that were basically, they drop you off and then they pick you up so you could walk around and do whatever you wanted over a few hours. Again, a place to visit, and would recommend it as definitely putting on your list of things to do. So in any case, that's about it I have for today. If you've liked this video, please give it a like. If you like following along with kind of my quirky, dorky style, maybe subscribe. I've got a few more videos to post in the next week or two. I'm going to do a little bit overview of what it's like on a sea day. We've got a couple more ports, Puerto Vallarta and Cabo San Lucas, to share some experiences there. I'm also going to dive a little bit more into the Norwegian Joy itself, the More at Sea program, sort of my takeaway, my experiences, my thoughts on how it, I think, is pretty good compared to the Free at Sea program. And in any case, I hope your day is great, and I'll see you on the sea.